Hello, welcome to video 6 of Edible Estates, brought to you by us here in Síolta and Monaghan Integrated Development. This week is video 6 and we're going to be covering composting, and Karen's going to go through the benefits and why compost.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question, why compost? Why talk about compost in a vegetable growing series, and also why it's important for you to do it. Another benefit of making your own compost at home is reducing food waste, because as you'll see, one of the materials used in the making of compost is your old food waste or garden waste as well, extra leaves and things that we're not going to eat that we can throw into the compost pile and make into compost. So you'll reduce your food waste. It said actually that if you composted your food waste, it would reduce your landfill by like a third. So for most households. So yeah, if you're not doing that already, it's just a really great way to reduce your waste, and it could reduce your landfill bills as well. One of the main reasons why we want compost, or we need compost in our beds, is so that the plants and the vegetables that we grow have enough nutrients to eat. So when you got your beds at the beginning of the project, you had a mixture of compost and soil inside it. And that compost is really rich in nutrients. It's got all of the things that a plant needs to grow and thrive and survive and produce leafy veg or fruits or whatever it is that you're growing. So obviously throughout the life cycle of the plants, it's taking the nutrients out. And so if you want to use the same beds to grow in next year, we're going to need to top it up with compost. We're going to need to put fresh nutrients back in. And so rather than having to import compost in all of the time, one method of being able to sustain that yourself is to make your own compost at home.
So it's important to get a mixture of green and brown material and a good balance in your mixture. When we're talking green, it's nitrogen. So this is the active ingredient, and then the carbon is the other brown material that's more fibrous. So brown materials are cardboard. We've got some pieces of wood in here like this. This is woody material. This is brown. Obviously these are green. The leaves of these are green. The stems would be considered brown, but not all brown material is brown. This is fibrous and it's green, so it's got a little element of kind of both in it. What you want to do is break your materials up as well to be fairly small. The air can get around and the moisture can get around, and there's more surface area for the bacteria to work on. When things are big, the bacteria have to work in from the outside in, whereas if you break things up, they can penetrate and work a lot quicker and more effectively, and it makes a better compost in the end. You haven't got that lumpy stuff left at the end. Stuff hasn't broken down, so the more you can break it down and help the bacteria to work, the better compost will be in the end. I've just emptied the compost bin here, and I'm going to go through a couple of common mistakes that I've made in the last year or 2 years with making compost. You can see here there's eggshells in the bottom of this, so we kept putting our eggshells into this thinking they decompose, but they're still there. So I think for the next batch I'm going to leave out the eggshells and put them, do something different with eggs, and then yeah, obviously no matter how careful we are, like there's plastic in it, bits of onion bags and a sock and top of a yogurt carton, see a clothes peg as well there, so that's stuff that doesn't go well on your vegetables when you're putting this back out onto your vegetable beds now. So but the rest of it's good. It's good compost, it's well rotted down. This is actually a bit compacted and some bits haven't rotted down, so as well, some of the sticks are a bit still sticky. They haven't broken down either, and yeah, I'd maybe leave them out as well. But it needs to be mixed out, aerated, so that more air can get in at it, and it's a bit wet as well down the bottom. Water is getting in, so it's a bit wet, and it's gone a bit off. So if this is turned out into another spot, it can start to break down even further, and it'll be better to use soon. Down at the bottom of there as well, just There's a full egg. It hasn't decomposed at all. That'll be well rotten. There's avocado skins in this as well. These are these don't break down. Very woody. So if you break them up before you put them in, it gives them a better chance. And there's quite a strong smell of citrus fruit. So orange skins, lemon skins shouldn't go into your compost. They're too strong and still leaving a smell. Okay. If you're going to build your own bay with pallets, for example, you want to put a roof on it and put some plastic over it. But also, if you have one of those municipality type plastic ones, just the lid, keeping that closed on that is perfect to keep the water out. So it wants to be a certain level of aerated, so it needs enough water to be active but not too much water to drown it out. And it also needs enough air as well to be active. Again, not too much where it'll dry out, but there's little fear of it drying out in Ireland. If you have a municipal type of composter, things mightn't break down as quick as they would, but you can just put them back in, break them up a little bit after the first year and put them back in again and let them go for a second time. So again, just to make it really clear, here are a few things not to include in your compost. Uncooked meat, because that rots, it attracts rodents, it's not good for your soil. Whole egg shells, because they don't break down. Compostable cups, you know, those coffee cups that say they're compostable. You can try one or two of them in it, but you'll see that they're actually not compostable. They're not good for, again, for the soil. And the same with the plastic lids on top, that hard compostable plastic. So that's industrially compostable, not in a home garden setup. And also the same with those caddy bags that you put into your kitchen caddy to bring them into to keep the caddy clean. Just keep those bags. They're not compostable either. You can test them out as well, but you'll see that they're not suitable to put on your veggie patch.
We use the compost, so say if we're making the compost this summer, it should be ready in time for us to lay on the beds. We'll do another video later on in the series, I think it's the last one, where we'll prepare the beds for winter, and what we'll do is we'll lay the compost out over the top of the bed and probably cover it over in wait for next year. So even if the compost isn't fully broken down by then, it'll have a chance to break down over the winter months. So we'll look at that in a later video and look forward to seeing you then.
See you next week.